I'm really excited for you to talk to Wes Miller, the director of A Day to Die. Wes, how's it going today?
Hey, good, my man. Thank you for having me.
Hey,
Good morning.
thanks for being on the Film Threat podcast. You are chatting with all of our friends here on YouTube Live, so thank you for thank you for being brave and joining us. Dude, the movie looks amazing. This cast, I first have to ask you, one, what's it like to work with Bruce Willis? And two, how did you put together this amazing cast? Kevin Dillon, Frank Grillo, and then Bruce Willis. What's it like to work with Bruce? How did you bring together this amazing cast? And then I want to ask our chat, if you have questions for Wes, check out, you can look up the trailers, and there's a couple scenes of A Day to Die on YouTube right now. But what's it like to work with Bruce?
Yeah, man. Working with Bruce, I mean, it's almost, you have to pinch yourself. You can't fanboy out because, you're kind of like leading the train, so to speak. But like, in all the iconic movies, such a cinematic legend. And, really just kind of getting in and just making sure that you're on point, you're ready to shoot. And, you can, it's not that he's not directable, but because he's Bruce Willis. However, you just want to make sure you bring your A game. So, you find yourself there kind of pinching yourself, but definitely, I kind of liken it to playing football. You just like when the big game comes, you're up a little bit early. You're a little bit, everybody's a little bit more on point. So that was amazing. And then Frank, we worked together before. Such a great guy. And man, he just, he's a consummate professional, intense, brings his A game like every day, pushes you, challenges you, makes you better. You make him better. And then, Kevin, just came in and killed it, man. I was just, in awe of him. And then, also Leon, who plays the Pettis character, 5 heartbeats, cool runnings, above the rim. Like he's just a legend. So I found myself, since I'm still at the infancy of my career, looking at these guys who have all had a major releases and major performances and critically received performances, and I just found myself in awe and just like, I didn't want to let them down, man. I just wanted to like rise to the challenge and make something really cool, but also, hopefully that's good and also resonates with people who love action movies, but who also realize action movies can have a little bit more substance to them.
Yeah, I mean, this movie looks incredibly intense. I mean, the story involving, Kevin Dillon's wife is kidnapped, held for ransom. He puts together a crew to get her back. It's intense. It's super intense. There's also just some intrigue behind the scenes. What went into like the development of the script and getting people to get involved? And I feel like with Bruce Willis, I don't know. If I had ever had the opportunity to direct Bruce Willis in a movie, I kind of want to just hang out with him a little bit. So did you get a chance to hang out with the crew? And then what went into the development of the script?
Yeah. So the script, when it came to me, it was just really more of a straight A to B action, piece, kind of thing. But, when I came in, I really wanted to at least attempt to make something a little bit deeper. That's why I created the Pettis character, Leon's character, created a few different scenarios that occur, throughout the story that use some twists and turns, some, alliances that are formed, alliances that are broken. So I went in and did that and, got it to a point where I felt like, we actually have some real, characters with substance, but also keeping in mind, like, look, it's an action film. And, even like when we screened it for a couple of audiences, it was the first time that I've actually had a chance to see it with audiences. Honestly, man, when it starts, it grabs people and it pretty much doesn't let go to the end. There's some levity in there, but, it's really cool. And then, yeah, with Bruce, man, I snuck a couple of selfies. I couldn't help it. You just can't. But like, we were challenged. I mean, we had like 21 days to shoot it. And so you just have to be game. Like when you get on set, like, in between setups, that's when I kind of, snuck, a couple of pictures. And yeah, I get to hang out a little bit. But no, I just came in focused in the morning and, we have a lot of action, a lot of big pieces, but also a lot of character work. And, you start your day and it's just like, hey, we're off to the races, no sacrifices.
We've got some questions for you in the chat. So let's get to those. Let's see right here. Oh, wait, no, we've got, there's just the questions are coming fast and furious here. First, we got T-South says, "Hail Wes." It's great. People asking, where is the movie available? I think it's out today, right?
Yeah, it's out today. In 10 cities. If you go to my Instagram, it is at I am Wes Miller, and I have like a little picture of like the different theaters that they have it at. But then it's available all on the on-demand platforms, iTunes, or excuse me, Apple TV now, Amazon, everybody. And the only thing I would ask is, like, if you watch it at home, please watch it with surround sound. A lot of love actually went into the sound mix, because honestly, man, action movies, is really, about that bass, about the resignation, about touching, places deep inside. And we're really happy with the sound mix. So the stereo is cool and all, but like, you really get the immersive, feeling, especially with all the gunfire and battles and stuff and explosions, with the surround sound.
Cool. Robadob 55 asked, do you lean into an actor like Willis's wheelhouse, or do you try to get him out of his comfort zone, similar to Robin Williams and Good Will Hunting?
I mean, good question, my man. I think in a piece like this, you lean into their wheelhouse. If it was a more of a dramatic material, where a deeper exploration into different character motivations, then you would try to nudge them out of their character zone a little bit. But with this one, Willis is Willis, and people watch Bruce because he's Bruce, and so you do want to lean into it. But at the same time, you do want to challenge a little bit. So, for instance, you don't see Bruce play a lot of quote unquote bad guys. And I think if you watch, once you watch the film, you'll realize, like, all right, he's not really who he seems to be, which is part of the surprise and the intrigue and working through the material.
And T's House says, I love his gentle push of surround sound. It matters.
That it does, man.
I agree. I agree. We were talking about the Batman earlier, and just how important the sound is. I mean, just when, like, you kind of save those moments, like, for example, like when the Batmobile starts for the first time, it kind of shakes the whole theater. It's great. And then Leon of the New Geek says the Bose is always on during movie time.
All right, my man. Yes. It's so funny because when we were mixing, we mix it in 5.1, and then my sound designer would bounce it down to stereo, and we'd listen. I'd be like, nah, not the same, man. Just not the same. So I was like, no, go back to 5.1, man. Like, don't look at me like that. So, yeah.
And T's House, well, also there's a really funny comment here about what is it with directors and the name Wes? There's a lot of directors named Wes. I don't know.
I know what. Wes Anderson. Who else we got?
Wes Craven.
Yeah, Wes Craven. Look, if the name Wes gets me in that talk, in that category, I'm gonna ride with it all day, man. But no, I'm really happy with this one, man. I feel like I said, in the infancy of my career. So if I can, aspire to be a great Wes, I will, and hopefully other Wes's come up and be like, hey, Wes Miller in that conversation one day.
Another question here from T's House. Wes, I'd love to know what got you into making films. How did you get your start, brother?
That's a long story, man. That's like 2 podcasts. But essentially, man, I practiced law for like 8 years. Film has really always been like my first love, man. Like, even when I was in law school, I watched The Rainmaker, The Verdict, when you have those tough days, and that would kind of be like my motivation to help me get through school. And I started off as like a civil rights lawyer, and a lawyer, you still kind of tell stories, a trial lawyer and stuff. But even my office, just like, it was decorated with legal movies. With my legal movie posters was around. That was my decoration. So I've always stayed there. And then, like, when DSLR started coming out, I was able to get that access to technology that I could actually make a cinematic image. Because back in the day, it was the Pixel 2000 and like these camcorders that say 24 FPS, and you'd be like, oh, I can finally do it. And you look at it and be like, nah, it's not the same. So that was it. And then I just made a decision. It's just like, hey, it's time. Like, so about 2015, I sold the practice. I had done a couple of little shorts and realized, hey, I got a little talent, but this is a craft, and it's going to take hard work. And if you're going to do it, you got to be dedicated. You got to be ready to take the lumps, the bumps, and keep on rocking. So yeah, and then I just really learned how to write and tell stories, in a filmatic and cinematic way, and still learning a lot. But yeah, that's it, man. And then just kind of met a few people who put me in contact with the other few people, and was just like, let's just make features. You know, I didn't do film school, so like, you know, all my films, you know, you get to witness all my mistakes, but I learned from each film and moving up, and you know, I think it really helped prepare me for this challenge. And then like, so watching you guys' podcast, no film school, like that was my film school. Like listening to these interviews, you know, people talking about the craft, hear people talk about films, like what they didn't like, you know, what the audiences really like look for. Yeah, man. So it was the Q&A podcast, like, you know, like literally that's been my film school, like you guys and these other film schools, man. That's just been the way I've learned.
Wow. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that compliment. I mean, there's a lot. And I do feel like there's so many great filmmakers that had an unusual pathway. I mean, David Lynch started as a painter, right? In school, he went to school for, you know, art and design. And, you know, some people began, I mean, you began as a lawyer. I find, first of all, if you're going to have a skill, that's a useful skill in the film business to be an attorney.
Yeah.
So did that actually help you too? Like, because what people don't understand, like to really be successful as a filmmaker, you have to have like, not only be creatively minded, right? You got to be very business savvy. So how much of that being an attorney like helped you?
You know, it helped a lot. It helped a few reasons. One, if I would have come in this like right out of college, I probably wouldn't have lasted long because I was really hot headed, and like you get challenged a lot in this industry. And you have to be diplomatic and build relationships. And so like going to law school also helped expand my view of the world and different people and working with different clients from different areas of life, you know, from really wealthy in the boardroom to very, you know, poor, you know, people that, you know, I would just help for free. And it just gave me a huge appreciation in that storytelling sense. And then, yes, bringing it over to the business side, it's a grind, it's gruesome. And it is the show business. And, you know, honestly, even right before doing this film, you know, I had to ask myself, like, look, what kind of filmmaker do you really want to be? You know, do you want to, you know, you want to try to make art house movies that get seen by 10 people, and if 5 critics don't like it, you will never, you know, make anything else again? Or do you really want to, like, you know, be a commercial filmmaker, have a lot of people watch your work and like do something entertaining that you enjoy doing? And then also that would protect investors that are like, you know, putting up money for movies. And yeah, man, you know, that, so it helped me in that way. And also, you know, there are a lot of people looking to take advantage of people in the film industry. And it gave me a little outlook on, all right, my BS meter, you know, is a little higher, you know, than it otherwise would be, because there are a lot of just a lot of unscrupulous people. I'm not even gonna say guys, just people in the industry. So that was really helpful. So you know, sometimes I wish I would have started earlier, but then when I think about it, I'm like, nah, I needed those lessons to be able to do, you know, to at least be somewhat effective doing this.
I like to say, just I'm from Michigan, the Detroit area, and I having moved from there to, you know, Los Angeles, I definitely feel I have a highly tuned bullshit detector, and so many people are full of crap, and you just like want to know, like, well, who can I take seriously? Who lives up to their word? Who, you know, does what they say they're going to do? Right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time. And speaking of Detroit, we actually mixed the film in Detroit, man. So I got to spend some time down there.
Yeah. There's a whole great filmmaking community in Detroit, like built. I mean, they shot parts of Batman v Superman in Detroit.
Yeah, they told me, and we looked at some of the sites, man. So I'm from Memphis originally, so you know it's music in Memphis, music in Detroit, man. So you know it's that little love, that musical love between the cities. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, I got to see Hitsville, so I was like, that's pretty cool, man. So yeah.
More comments here. T-South says, that's awesome. Thanks for giving a long explanation, man. And Rabadob 55, I'm intrigued by your film. Definitely gonna give it a watch.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Hope you enjoy it, man.
Yeah. And Scott Slaughterbeck says, damn, a fellow Detroit guy, me too. Oh, I think that might be directed toward me. Memphis is awesome. What's so right now you're selling the film, you're on the promotional tour. That's got to be kind of a grind too. And we appreciate you talking to us here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. And it's always like, for me, I feel like for me, craft wise, this is the first film where I'm like super confident as far as like going out, like promoting it, because I hate people who always be like, oh, look at what I did. Look at what I did. And you look at it and it's like really bad. And it's like, no, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want you like, hey, come look at what I did. And it's not ready. It's not right. But I feel like with this one, at least craft wise, you know, I'm really proud of it, you know, and I do hope it lands with, you know, the audiences that it's intended to land for. It is a fun ride. And I'm enjoying talking about it, man. And this is like I said, probably the first time that, you know, I'm like really confidently standing behind, you know, like, hey, all right, I think it's really good, guys. Like, you know, and we watched it with the audience in Jackson and then Mississippi and then New York this week. And man, it's just an invaluable experience, man. So it was really cool.
It's super intense. Recommend that you check it out. Wes Miller, thank you for joining us on the Film Threat podcast today. It was a joy to chat with you. And thank you for your questions in the chat. You guys are awesome. Yeah. Wes, congrats on the movie. And when you make your next movie, can you come back and chat with us again?
I will, man. And thanks. And keep doing what you do, man. I'm sure there are a lot more filmmakers who watch and learn. And, you know, hopefully somebody listen to this and maybe a little bit more motivated. Because honestly, if I can do it, you can too. Like, you can. It's hard work. Don't quit. But keep going. I
love your story too, that you went from being an attorney to, you know, in the industry. I think that's just really inspiring. And T-South says the way Wes speaks on film with so much obvious love for the art form really makes me want to check his movie out even more. So Wes, you're a good salesperson.
No, I appreciate it, man. It's all love, man. This is honest as honest can be, man. It's just, you know, is it.
Well, congratulations, and thanks for talking to us on the Film Threat podcast. We'll see you when your next movie comes out. I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
All right, take care.
All right,
later.
Have a good one. All right.